and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavor show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome to the Deep Dive. You've given us some really interesting source material this week. It starts off very domestic, doesn't it? Birthday cake, sibling squabbles, lots of rain.
Yeah, very ordinary sounds, but then it just pivots completely. Suddenly we're plunged into this rural emergency, a neighbor's death, and the immediate fallout.
Exactly. So our mission today is to track that pivot. We're looking at how you go from, planning a birthday party to dealing with a tragedy and, crucially, the practical demands it creates.
It's that tension, isn't it, between the shock, the human element, and this almost biological imperative, the need to milk those cows. How immediate duties just have to take over.
Right. So we'll structure it like this for you. First, we'll look at the birthday distractions, get the feel for the day, then the sort of social backdrop as the errand begins, and finally, the core crisis at Meadow Farm.
And the key question running through it all is about that responsibility. How a simple errand, dropping off a part, spirals into this massive life or death commitment, really.
Okay, let's dive in. Section 1. The birthday and the backdrop. It's Monday, and the sources keep mentioning the rain. It's chucking it down.
Absolutely hammering it down. But here's the twist. The farmers are actually relieved. Why? Because the summer was so dry.
Ah, right. They're worried about fodder, weren't they? For the winter feed.
Exactly. Poor grass growth means potential disaster if you've got livestock. So this downpour, miserable as it sounds for, walking about, is actually vital. A bit of salvation for the land.
Okay, so outside, needed rain. Inside, birthday chaos. It's Khalil's 15th. His parents, Jill and Leonard, are out.
But Leonard left a cake. A chocolate orange cake, which we're told is Ben's favorite, Ben being Leonard's brother, I assume.
And you get this great little snapshot of family life. Cleo, the sister, did the decorating. She ditched the old Eid Mubarak banner.
Yeah. And there's that classic sibling banter. She calls Khalil an ungrateful little worm when he's a bit dismissive. It feels very real, doesn't it? Grounding.
Totally. And the presents, they sort of map out the family dynamics, too. Parents set the bar really high. A new baton pad. That's serious stuff for a 15-year-old cricketer.
Yeah, definitely. Then Robert and Linda chipped in with a go-karting voucher. Half-day session over in Felbishon. Fun.
But Cleo's gift is the best bit. The misdirection. She first hands over, socks.
Socks and underpants. Green, pink, orange, and glow-in-the-dark ones, too.
Right. Khalil's reaction is, understandably, grim. You think, typical sibling wind-up.
But then comes the actual present, the envelope.
This is brilliant. Tickets. ICC Women's T20 World Cup. India versus Pakistan at Edgbaston.
Wow. That is a fantastic gift. Really thoughtful. Suddenly the socks and pants are forgotten, right? You see that connection?
Completely. So you've got this peak moment of just pure teenage joy, family warmth. And the backdrop is this much-needed rain. That's the baseline.
That's the emotional starting point, yeah.
The last bit of uncomplicated happiness David Archer and the listener will experience for a while in this narrative. Okay, so from that warmth, the focus shifts. David has errands to run. He's giving the companion a lift home. The companion's just finished a job, right? Under a sink.
Yeah, working for Penny Hazard. Sounds like they were glad to be done with that one. And as they're driving, we get these little snippets of village life.
Like the rats at the shop. Poor Susan dealing with that.
And the companion makes that comment, reminds him of his dad's issues back in Pakistan. That phrase, "you're never far from a rat in the country." It punctures any romantic notions, doesn't it?
It does. And speaking of less than romantic realities, George Grundy comes up. His reputation, it's complicated.
Very. David mentions Kenton's worried about him causing trouble at the pub. Grundy's known for it, apparently.
But then David immediately adds that Grundy did his brother a massive favor once. Helped out with some trouble at the Bull.
So it's that rural thing, isn't it? Reputation versus usefulness. Sometimes you need the difficult character. Morality gets a bit situational.
Fascinating point. So David's main detour now is Meadow Farm. Just dropping off a spare part. A butterfly valve for the milking parlor.
For Mulligan, the farmer there. David actually mentions he feels bad he got sidetracked. Should have come earlier. Hindsighting.
Yeah. And Mulligan himself sounds like quite a character. Or rather, not much of one, outwardly.
Defined by his isolation, really. Runs this 12-acre farm, 60 cows, mostly Guernseys. Took over from his father 30 years back.
And he doesn't get out much, especially since his wife died, what, 8 or 9 years ago?
That's right. David even says, a bit dryly, that Mulligan never went to charm school. He's that sort of quiet, self-contained farmer figure.
But when they pull up to Meadow Farm, the quiet is gone. Something's obviously wrong immediately.
The cows. The herd is agitated, making a lot of noise, crying out to be milked, they say, and they're all bunched up at the gate.
Which is a huge red flag, right? Cows are creatures of habit. Being late for milking stresses them out. It's not like Mulligan to let that happen.
Not at all. So David heads straight for the milking parlor. The companion checks the farmhouse, finds it locked.
And it's David who finds him, finds Mulligan, collapsed. Looks like he was just getting ready for milking.
Yeah. The companion comes over, checks him, confirms the worst. Uses that phrase, thinks Mulligan just gelled over.
Gelled over, meaning sudden, like a heart attack maybe. Peaceful.
Exactly. Instantaneous, no struggle. And later, the paramedic sort of confirms that idea, suggests it was probably peaceful, that he didn't know anything about it. Cold comfort, but there it is.
So the discovery's made, emergency services are called, police, ambulance, they're on their way to handle the human side of the tragedy.
But the crisis isn't over, not by a long shot, because now that biological clock starts ticking loudly.
The cows.
The cows. David and the companion know instantly those 60 Guernseys have to be milked, and soon. They're described as high yielders.
Okay, explain the urgency there. Why is milking them right now more important than, say, letting the police secure the scene properly first?
Mastitis. Simple as that. With high-yielding cows, if their udders aren't emptied regularly, within hours they can develop mastitis. It's incredibly painful for them, causes serious infection, can ruin the udder permanently.
So it's an animal welfare emergency, basically.
Yeah.
Mass suffering is imminent if they don't act.
Absolutely. It's not even really a choice from their perspective, it's a duty. You can't just let 60 animals suffer like that. So they decide, right then and there, they have to stay.
Milk all 60. Settle them for the night. David's son's birthday party is just going to have to wait.
The animal need overrides everything else in that moment. It's quite stark. There's even that slightly awkward phone call home.
Oh yeah, David calls. Khalil puts him on speaker. He kind of downplays it, doesn't he? No mention of finding Mulligan.
No, he just says there's a delay. They have to milk some cows. And Khalil and Cleo are like, ew, milk cows. They compare it to the 6 goats he used to milk years ago.
A bit of unintentional dark humor there. They have no idea the scale of it or the reason.
None at all. But the reality for David and the companion is setting in. Milking 60 cows, even with a machine, in what's probably not a state-of-the-art parlor. That's hours of work.
Yeah, the source mentions 6 or 7 minutes per cow, plus moving them around. It's a long slog. They say they're glad we didn't have to do them by hand.
You bet. So they get into this rhythm, this long, monotonous, but absolutely vital task. And as they're working, they start reflecting a bit.
On death. They mentioned this isn't the first time they've encountered something like this, not your first dead body.
Right, but they agree it never gets easier. And crucially, it shouldn't get easier. It shouldn't be something you just take in stride. It underscores the fragility of life, right there amidst the steady hum of the milking machine.
And it's during this long, repetitive process that David's guilt really surfaces, isn't it? He's literally tending to the legacy of the man he just found dead.
And he's hit by this wave of remorse. He tells the companion he couldn't even remember Mulligan's first name for the police. His neighbor. Lived 10 minutes away for 30 years.
And David's someone who talks a lot about farmers needing to be good neighbors. The irony must be crushing him.
It seems to be. A total failure to live up to his own standards, his own rhetoric, on the most basic human level. He didn't connect with the man.
But is there maybe a hint of, not exactly redemption, but trying to make amends? He failed the man, but now he's throwing himself into this huge physical task for him, or for his animals.
That's a really interesting way to put it. It's definitely a form of penance, isn't it? A massive, inconvenient, physically demanding act of service. But it goes beyond just the immediate milking.
How so?
He commits. Right there. He says he'll look after the entire herd, all 60 Guernseys, until the next of kin can be contacted and take over.
Oh.
And he admits he can't even remember the daughter's name either.
Wow, that's huge. On top of his own farm work, The logistics must be a nightmare.
Absolutely enormous. He knows it too. He talks about the risk of contamination between his herd and Mulligan's, having to use separate boots, separate clothes, being incredibly careful. It's a massive undertaking.
Yet he accepts it. Why? What's the justification he gives?
It's simple and quite profound, I think. He just says, it's not the cow's fault, is it? Why should they suffer?
Ah. So the failure towards the human neighbor is channeled into this absolute commitment to prevent suffering in the animals left behind.
Precisely. He failed the man in life, perhaps, but he won't fail his legacy, his animals, in death. It's a powerful, practical form of respect, even without prior affection.
And the companion observes something about that whole process, right? The milking, the atmosphere.
Yeah, notes the strangeness of it, the sheer monotony, the steady rhythm of the machines, creating this weird sense of peace right in the middle of a tragedy. An enforced calm, almost.
Kind of enforced meditation, yeah. Life, the demands of life, just carrying on despite death. David is forced into this sustained act of care.
So this deep dive really took us on a journey, from birthday cake and cricket tickets to the urgent, unglamorous reality of preventing mastitis in 60 grieving cows. Quite the swerve. It really highlights that conflict, doesn't it? Human shock versus practical necessity. David's actions, however belated or guilt-driven, show community care in its most raw, functional form. It's not about liking your neighbor. It's about doing what needs to be done when crisis hits.
Which brings us to our final thought for you. David Archer didn't know his neighbor's first name. He felt immense guilt over that lack of connection. Yet, in the immediate aftermath of finding him dead, he took on the entire burden of his neighbor's livelihood, hours of difficult, risky work, asking nothing in return.
So the question is, if being a good neighbor is ultimately measured by action in a crisis, rather than by warmth or friendship beforehand, was David Archer, in that moment, actually the best neighbor Mulligan could have asked for?
Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.
So, what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So, what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the archers. Any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's.
This one.
Yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever